All right, my friends. Hello, hello. There we go. This track, by the way, was by AI, even though it sounds crazy much like the Ghibli songs. So that's pretty insane. How are you doing? How has your week been? How's your life been? It has been a little bit cooler here in Vienna and also like a lot of rain, to be honest. So yeah, let's see. Let me know. Let me know where are you from and how your weather has been, or the kind of like global situation. And today, by the way, today I don't know if this is going to be a good stream. It might be extremely boring, but it's an experiment. You know, just like looking with you, like thinking together with you about art and artistic concepts and trying to figure something out, a story, a short story, kind of that kind of thing, you know? So, I don't know. We will see. And as you've seen in the title, I put Waiting for Godot. It's a Samuel Beckett play, a theater play. I don't know if you know that. If you don't know, check it out on YouTube. It's about 2 hours long. It's really nice. It might be boring, but yeah, it's a test for the mind of the short scroller, the doom scroller. Hi everybody. Okay, now I see the chat. I don't know if it just happened or not. I cannot connect to AI, but I can do CGI. Oh, okay, interesting. You cannot connect to AI. Interesting. That's an interesting point, because like I think by the way, is the music a little bit annoying, or is it like when we talk we can turn it off for the moment maybe? Should we turn it off or keep it in the background? AI can be quite overwhelming, and that's also kind of like a topic that we can tackle today of AI starts at the end with the finished product, and that is, of course, completely different than the classic artistic product. Hi, Hound of Justice, how are you doing? Hey, also from Vienna. I'm also from Vienna. Not from Vienna, but I'm living in Vienna. Fine, waiting for the 3D printer to arrive. I have a 3D printer I actually don't need anymore. It's one of these liquid printers, and they also have the resin printer, and they have a UV thing for the resin printer too. If you're interested, maybe I can sell it to you, because I'm probably not going to use it. And I have used it only a couple of times, to be honest. Hi, Scotty. Thanks for joining. Hi, Christopher. Thanks for joining. Hi. Ryan Potter again. Okay. It's nice. A little lower, really. It's too much. Let's pull it back a little bit, maybe. There we go. All right. So let me switch the screen real quick. I have finally managed to actually use my Stream Deck, which I have had for at least a year or more, probably more, 2 years, I don't know, and never used it. Oh, you see the stream. You see the chat. 1 second. Let me put that to the side. There we go. So this is the short version of Waiting for Godot. Maybe I can read it to you real quick, so we're all on the same page. Let me zoom in here a little bit so you can also read the text. To be honest, I'm getting a little bit dizzy from the music at the same time. Let me maybe pause that for the moment. There we go. Okay, cool. So, 2 men, Vladimir and Estragon, wait by a leafless tree on a country road for a man named Godot, who they barely know, hoping they will give them purpose or relief, which is interesting. While they wait to pass the time, they engage in trivial arguments, contemplate suicide. Oh, I shouldn't say that word on YouTube. Eat turnips and encounter 2 passers-by, a cruel master named Pozzo and his abused, bound servant Lucky. A young boy arrives at the end of the day to tell them Godot won't come today, but will surely arrive tomorrow. In the second act, the sequence repeats with minor variations. The tree has a few leaves, Pozzo is blind, Lucky is mute, and the boy delivers the exact same message. Despite agreeing to leave, the 2 men do not move as the play ends. The core meaning, Samuel Beckett's play is an existential masterwork about the absurd human tendency to search for meaning, hope, and salvation in a universe that offers none, highlighting how people use routines and distraction to endure existence. And the interesting thing about that is, like, throughout the whole play, it's never explained who Godot is. He could be anything. He could be God. He could be the government. He could be a representation of hope or a higher purpose in life, things like that. And then, of course, you have these two guys who look like beggars. They are very poor, basically, waiting around for Godot to arrive. And they always want to leave, but they never do. And then there is Pozzo and his servant Lucky, which, in my mind, they represent, how can I say, the aristocracy, or the wealthy, things like that. But it might also mean something different. It's also never explained who they are and what they represent. Hi, Triple A Monkey. Thanks for joining. Nice to see you. Hound of Justice. Sadly, I don't use resin printers because the toxic. Yeah, that's a problem. Right. I was told it's not too much a problem, but then I had headaches after printing a couple of pieces. And you can put it into a box and then have a aeration blow out the window, but I don't know. Especially also have it in my bedroom, which is also not a great idea. So yeah. Anyways, so that's kind of like that's the story. We don't have to go with the story, but I find it an interesting thing because every person, I think, let me know in the chat. By the way, again, like last time, I would really favor if the chat is about this, what we're talking about in the stream, and not about like other topics. You can discuss that, of course, in the Discord chat. Everybody, I think, has existential questions of what is the purpose of life? How am I a good person? What is happening? Maybe after death, is there an afterlife or not? What will happen to me? What do I have to do to get the good part or the bad part afterwards, right? And do I waste my life with doing the things I do now? Should I do something different? Should I do this or that? Praying or meditation, traveling or arts, or like just family or working hard? Is money the kind of like main purpose in life? So there's a lot of like different things that, of course, none of those have a real answer, right? That's the crux, is there's no real explanation of what is the real meaning. Nobody can tell you, right? How can I make so Freedom says, can I make art? I like to make anime images and real places, and image to image. Is it art? Well, yeah, kinda. Yeah, I think it's like up to what you do with it, right? It's just a tool at the end of the day. So it's at the end, there is nothing. The interesting thing is like everything is empty. If you look at it, even language, even paintings, everything is filled with purpose and meaning because we assign purpose and meaning to it, right? So even if you look at something and see a landscape, that's you seeing a landscape because you have understood to learn to see that landscape, right? But it's also, of course, for us easy because it's usually painted in perspective, right? But then if you would look at African art or Aborigine art in Australia and they paint a landscape with a river, you would probably think it's an abstract funny pattern because you wouldn't see a landscape or a river because it doesn't look anything like it, right? Prompting is an art, might be, right? So that's also kind of an interesting thing. So the question is, what can we do? Maybe with that idea or something else. We can also ask AI about that. So let's do that maybe. How could I turn that into a visually strange but interesting short film? All right, there we go. Okay. When adapting Waiting for Godot in a visual strange, highly compelling short film, lean into the surreal. That's a good idea. Visual metaphors, jarring temporal edits, and high contrast production design. Rather than a stage play, as a set, turn the absurdly into the cinematic fever dream experience. Okay, cool. By the way, you can suggest stuff also in the chat, how to deal with that, right? Or if you know the piece, we can also talk a bit about the piece, the theater play, I mean by that. Set the scene in a hyper-specific, surreal location. A tree reimagined replaced the literal barren tree with something visual unnatural, a massive decaying satellite dish. Oh, okay, interesting. Out of the salt flats, a solitary concrete pillar in an infinite shallow lake, or a rusted floating phone booth in the desert. Ooh, I like that. Okay, wait a second. Let's try to use ChatGPT this time. Okay, 1 second. Create an image of a lonely man. Maybe in a concept art style, or let's just let it decide the style. Lonely man standing in the desert next to a phone booth. Everything looks desolate and how do you say, empty and sad. Let's just say sad also. Let's see. So what's your, I don't know, have you seen that theater play, first of all, or maybe read it? Let me know in the chat if you have any kind of experience with that story or can imagine what that story is from what I've read you before, right? I can also explain it a bit more, right? Of what the premise is, you know, how it's built up. So let's see. No means you have never seen it. Okay, interesting. All right. The downside with ChatGPT is it's a little bit slow. By the way, we can do the same thing with Midjourney at the same time. That might be a little bit faster, to be honest. Let's see. It might not get the same kind of results, or maybe more artistic results. We will see about that. Okay, let's wait for this real quick. And this is why this might not be super interesting, because it's kind of like creativity is always a slow process. There is no kind of like dancing around and cheating it to be super fast. It is just like a, yeah, slowish process. So basically, no, I've never seen it, knew it, but not the full story. Right. Okay, cool. Yeah, so like I said, you have these two guys and they are standing in a what kind of looks like an apocalyptic place that is completely empty, and there is just like one small tree without leaves, which is kind of yeah, very empty and desolate and depressing, you know. I think maybe the tree might have a symbol of life because he has leaves in the second act of the play, and he might represent a certain way of hope, but he might also represent a certain way of getting out of it, right? Because you can like hang yourself on the tree. So there's that kind of possibility because there's nothing else around. The problem for them, of course, is they don't have a, how do you say it? They don't have a chord to use, you know, no string. What is the right word for that, right? So even that possibility is not really given, right? So there's no easy way out. Okay, let's see. We have some images. Oh, it's a little bit too literal. Okay. Okay, these are the images we have from ChatGPT. They look like photos, of course. Now that we look at it, it's maybe a little bit boring, right? The phone booth. The phone booth also has a different meaning, right? That's kind of like interesting because a phone booth directly is communication, you know? So if you have a phone booth and he's standing there and waiting, it's more of a social isolation rather than being lost in life. So very different, already very different symbolism to the story, right? So of course, already it kind of like doesn't work if we want to stick close to the original story. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, this looks like Doctor Who, right? No rope. Rope, that's the word, no rope. It sounds like I may benefit from a super minimalist treatment, maybe a line drawing or a white background. Yeah, probably to be more abstract, right? So this already is not working. We have to find something else. Already we are in the creative process, right? That's kind of like interesting. To have that. By the way, should we turn on the music again or not? Or I could also create some more apocalyptic music. That might be nice. Some Blade Runner style music in the background. So the phone booth was a terrible idea. We need to find something else, but that's already good because that's a creative process, right? Let me see here real quick if we can create some more dystopian Blade Runner music, monotone. Okay, and we want to have it instrumental. Let's push the button. There we go. A broken phone booth. No, that's the same thing, you know. I would say that remembers, yeah, it resembles Doctor Who, right? I feel like a broken phone booth is the same as a phone booth. It still hints too much at the urge that you want to communicate with someone, right? So, the tree was actually pretty good. I mean, that's why he is a master of these plays. I mean, let's try a tree just to see the difference next to a, let's write a dead tree to start with. We will copy that over and see where this goes. I feel like that's already also like a departure into the question of, hey, AI art, oh, you just have to press a button and then art. But it doesn't work like that because you still have to have an idea and you still have to work through the process of like ripening that idea into something that is more than just like the first kind of like, you know, even if you have a play as a basis that is really good, visualizing it and finding a way to create it in a nice way is actually still extremely difficult, right? Okay. Let's see what we have here. 1 second. Also with the sound, we have a little bit of sound. Let's see. Ooh. But is it getting cyberpunky? It's to cyberpunk, right? Oh, no. Too much. Too much effort. Trying too hard. Okay. This is taking a little bit here. Okay. Death Stranding is good. Yes. Went with carrying a baby instead. Ha. Right. Which I have started and I really want to play Death Stranding, but I have never finished it. So I actually don't know what the purpose of the baby is. Maybe also don't spoil it. But yeah, interesting. Interesting point. Oh, there we go. Aha! So you can see that this already has a very different kind of expression, right? It looks a lot more lost. So the visual language of the tree is actually very good. If you would have a broken car, it would be movement, right? To get out of there. So that's also not good. If you would have a broken house, it would be, I don't know, searching for a home, right? So you have not played it yet? Oh, okay. It's very beautiful, very slow but very beautiful. Short pants and a hat. You think so? Short pants and a hat? But the tree is actually pretty interesting. No, but you see these like combinations. Now, if we would make him a soldier and we have the tree, then already, of course, it's this kind of like story about life and death again, right? So it's really not that easy. Okay, Midjourney is pretty much going overboard with the tree. This one is actually not too bad. I mean, we don't have to stick to the original story. So it's not like we have to make an exact copy of that, right? We can go into another direction, right? This is also kind of nice, even though it looks kind of like a little bit more like Blade Runner with these kind of teal and orange colors here. And there we are back with Doctor Who. So that doesn't really work. We also don't have to have an object next to it. The landscape can actually speak for itself, right? So let's try that. Standing in a desolate, empty landscape. Let's try that next. Let's see if the landscape can speak for itself. Right, there we go. Did it do anything? No. Okay, cool, now it does. Oh, it's hot. 1 second. Let me get my fan here to action. There we go. Okay, cool. Oh, should we have some sound? Dystopian. Let's turn off the Blade Runner part. Monotone. Let's try that again and see if we get something better than that. Okay, what do we have here? Okay, let me turn off my personalization because maybe it puts a little bit too much of all that kind of teal and orange in there. Hey, Paulus. Hi, nice to see you. Thanks for joining. What sounds like the Waiting for Godot concept? It's not actually played. Oh, does it? With Death Stranding? That's a good question. Is Death Stranding similar to Waiting for Godot? I mean, he's mainly, I don't know the story. I haven't played it. I haven't finished it. But so as far as I've played, it's a kind of like an apocalyptic world that he's in, and he like moves parcels around. I don't think I spoil anything by saying that because that's literally in every trailer and even on the main picture. I feel like it's more about rebuilding society from a broken state to a recovered state, right? Rather than, I mean, there is something in there about the purpose of life, but it might not be the main thing. Hey, Murphy, thanks for joining. It was really amazing that you've been in Vienna. Thanks for visiting. Sitting on a rock. Interesting, sitting on a rock. Okay, cool. Let's see here. Oh, there we have the landscape. ChatGPT doing a good job. But then, if you look at that, it's missing something to play against. So the landscape on its own is maybe also not enough. You know? If there would be a pyramid in the distance, it would be about lost civilization. If there would be a cross on the ground, it would be about life and death. It's really interesting. It's difficult to get something that is about existentialism. And the phone didn't work. Let's ask AI again. 1 second. What else did it say? Replace it with a barren tree, something visual, unnatural, massive decaying satellite dish. But a satellite dish, again, is about communication. If we have destroyed buildings, it's an apocalyptic, like, past civilization, you know? So the post-human situation. Oh, you don't see anything. Sorry. I forgot about that. I'm sorry. Perhaps might have a dog, like in Fallout, right? But a dog is already a nice companion. It's really a difficult question, to be honest. We can let's put the satellite dish and see what this does, and then we will also put the dog and see what this does. Luckily enough, we have unlimited power here. Standing in the desolate. Okay. Wait 1 second. In the background is a decaying satellite dish. Okay. Okay, and then we say next to him is a dog. Okay, cool. Good. In the distance are broken buildings. We are going to go through the visual language here. In the ground, to him is a wooden cross for a grave. Okay, let's do that. And now we have to wait. A lost cemetery. But why would he be lost in the cemetery, right? So it could also, by the way, maybe it would be interesting to say he's in a desolate landscape with kind of like dead plants, and then there's fog in there. Or maybe there's just fog in there, or a fog and a road, because then he's kind of like lost. So you're losing the sense of sight and distance and these kind of things. So that might be an interesting kind of thing to do. Lost at sea, but Lost at Sea is its own situation, so that doesn't really make any sense. Lost in a cave, but that's also its own situation, so that also isn't really the same thing. But you can see already, like, the starting point is already like really difficult, right? So here we have the satellite dish. And I feel like that's like communication, right? Desolate place sitting on a rock, shirt, pants, and a hat, just looking for something. But why is he sitting on a rock? Right? So these are all the satellite dishes. I mean, to be honest, maybe the tree also only works because of like feeling like knowing the play, the theater play. If you see it without the theater play, just a tree, it might not work in the same way, right? And by the way, we can also go more absurd if we want to. Sorry, I'm stuck in the same loop. 1 second. This is with the cross. There we have the cross, which is just like, okay, probably his child or his wife died or something like that, you know. But you can see how strong symbols are. By the way, since I'm not listening to any music, I can like get my headphones off. But you can, by the way, also let me know if you wanna listen to music or not. We can always do that. Yeah, it just looks like someone died, right? Okay. You see, it's really not easy. If you have all these movies and think, oh, they're so shit, try it yourself. It's really hard. Maybe we should do something else. Of course, I'm also like a little bit prone to giving up on things if they don't work out. What he's saying, hey, Helga, hi. Thanks for joining. Nice to see you. Sitting on the Rock, we're going to do that in a second. So here we have the broken down town. By the way, let me know, have you seen the movie or read the book, The Road, where the guy is like walking in the apocalypse with his son? That's the starting point, by the way. I'm not spoiling anything by that. At the start, the story starts right at that point. Have you seen that? Either the movie or read the book. Both of them are pretty similar, I would say. Beautiful. Very, very nice. A very, very different way also of dealing with this kind of like apocalyptic situation. So here we have that. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Where do we have the dog? Did I not put the dog? Ah, there's the dog. So there we have him with a dog, which just looks like he's on a walk, right? It doesn't look quite desperate. I feel like when you have a dog with you, you always feel good, right? There's like, is it hard indeed? It's hard indeed. Yeah, it is, right? Empty Shore. Oh, Empty Shore. That's interesting. That's what art movement was that? Was it? I think the Romantic movement. 1 second. Who is that? Can't remember the name. Ah, yeah, there we go. Caspar David Friedrich is a German painter. And is it romantic or not? Yeah, romanticism. There we go. That's it. Very small man, very high sky. Interesting visual language. A big sky makes you feel more lost. Interesting. By the way, did this do anything else? Ah. Okay, but we probably have to ask for mute colors. Ooh, that's beautiful. Okay, so Midjourney coming in with the beautiful scenes. 1 second. What was I saying? Oh yeah, 1 second. So we're gonna do that. Lonely standing in a little empty landscape. Surrounded by a lot of fog that covers the surrounding. Most of the image is sky. The man in the landscape is very small. The colors are muted. Okay, we're gonna try that. And we're gonna try that here. There we go. Same artist did a painting called Waiting for Godot too. What? No, he didn't. Because the piece came out way later. What? That would be crazy. He did? Wait. That would be interesting if Beckett has the title from there, but I don't believe that. No, he didn't. Yeah. Two men contemplating the moon. You might be thinking, okay. Show me two men contemplating the moon. Let's see about that. Oh no, that's very different. Yeah, that's a famous painting, but that's very different. And that's way more in the romanticism, kind of like romantic style as we see it today. Not this kind of melancholic, sad style. Do we already have a... okay, that looks good. Ooh, okay. I feel like ChatGPT is still getting ahead here. This looks too nice, too beautiful. Also, he looks like he's standing on the waves. Interesting. Yeah, this looks way too nice. This looks like a nice holiday. This looks like World War II. World War One, sorry. Anyways. And there we have the version of ChatGPT. Interesting. Okay. Of course, now if you use that and you put a giant monster in the fog, you know, easy kind of thing to do to create some horror or something like that. But not exactly what we want. But it's interesting, you see like how if the person is so small, it creates way more pressure on the person, especially if the sky is so big. It feels more lost than when you have more of a close-up. So that already is kind of like nice, right? Okay, maybe strange distance, undefinable object in the distance to add intrigue. Okay, let's see. We can do that. We can try that. Wait. Ah, there we go. Okay, cool. There we go. There we go. Landscape. Muted. A giant. Abstract object is visible. Is barely through the fog in the distance, but covers most of the sky with its size. Okay, let's see what we get from that. Again, I'm gonna try that on Midjourney. Let's see what we get here. And then should we maybe, I feel like we might get a better result if we say here concept art style and create it then. It might be more artistic and interesting. Okay, cool. Ruins of a cathedral, but that's very religious then. And also very Christian. So it's not as open to interpretation, right? But we can try that also. Giant abstract cathedral. Wait. Man, my spelling is dying with all the spell correction online. Is this correct? Yeah, it's the same spelling you used. Okay, cool. All right. We're going to put that also in here with the concept art. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Okay, these are more like crazy clouds. Let's see. Oh, this is like a giant mushroom, maybe a little bit. This is more like an alien kind of invasion, a body horror kind of thing, right? This is strange. Okay. Interesting. Ooh. It looks like a planet, but it has kind of like hairs on the lower part. Oh. Okay, interesting. But looks way more alien, right? Of a black blockbuster rental store, yes, right? Okay, interesting. Right. Oh, this is... I don't even know what that is. It looks like a kind of like a downside of the planet or something. This is just like something rising. It's kind of strange. Either a mushroom or I don't know what that is. Oh, okay. Oh, this is not finished yet. Okay. Let me see what ChatGPT did. Ooh. Oh, wow. Okay. 1 second. Whoa, look at that. This looks actually like a landed Star Wars, one of these like where the wings go straight up. This looks like a spaceship. But it's a cool shape. Guess it's just like a giant egg. But I like how faint it is. It did a good job with that. This looks like the ship from Alien, you remember? from the first Alien movie, where it's no, in the first Alien movie it's actually laying down. I don't know if there's, I don't think there's any version where the ship is standing up, right? With Alien. This is kind of abstract, but so faint it's not really visible. Okay, those are the 4 images. Let's get out of there. There's the cathedral, but let's see if we have here cathedral finished or not. Oh. Oh, yes, no, we don't. This is not really cathedral, though. And also it looks like he's standing in water. So yes, AI illustration can be art, just needs to someone trying to use it to communicate a message. Probably, right? Ooh, interesting. Kind of a crazy, strange rock and maybe a cathedral in the background. This looks like the, what is it called in France? There is this like fort on the, that is as big as an island right next to the coast. This looks also kind of similar. So not so great, not so good. Let's see what ChatGPT is doing. Ooh, this is going more into kind of like, I would say, Warhammer kind of direction. Crazy cathedral with a lot of spikes. Also tons of spikes here. Oh, wow. Okay, interesting. More of a classic cathedral with the center and then 2 towers with these spikes. And this looks also like a cathedral town. But the message is kind of different, right? So it's, in that regard, I would say it's the individual against the overbearing power of a church that created a apocalyptic, desolate, dystopian kind of world, right? So you directly have a power structure, basically, against an individual, which can also be an interesting story, but it's a very classic and obvious good against bad story, right? Which maybe we can also go into, right? How could we go more abstract? Maybe let's try to go away from that space a little bit. How could we express this kind of thing? We can also ask AI, by the way. Okay, so let's see. I tried a lot of ideas in a landscape with a man next to a phone booth or cross or dog or city ruin or cathedral, but all of them are not about existentialism. They always point to something else and are too much on the nose. Maybe let's go more abstract with this. How else can I represent that feeling of being existentially lost? Give me several ideas. Okay, let's see what AI has to say. A distant obelisk, but why an obelisk, right? Recognizing symbols, dog, blah, blah, blah. Existential isn't about why we are here. Where are we going? It's not about why we're here? I would say it's about why we're here. It's about the raw, absurd feeling of being here with no guaranteed instruction. Oh, okay, maybe. Yeah. Simply trying to endure time. It is a feeling of dislocation, redundancy, and paralysis. Here are several abstract visual strategies. 1, the trap of infinity. Scale and negative space. Instead of small landscape with a figure, make the space itself the entire point. It's in standard art, space is negative. In existential art, space is positive. Force of oppression. The infinite shadow. A man standing in A man standing in perfectly still, shallow water that extends to the horizon in a direction. No landmarks, no boundary between water and sky is slightly blurry. The feeling of paralysis. He is not moving. He is simply present in an infinite non-space. The absolute monochrome. A figure reduced to a small dark silhouette standing at the base of an immense, perfectly flat, gray or bone-white concrete wall that itself fills 95% of the frame. Well, interesting ideas. Let's give it a shot. Okay. Let's go here again. Okay. Empty and sad. Okay. A small man standing in front of a giant concrete wall that covers the complete image and is uniform. Okay, let's give that a shot. And then a man standing in a shallow, endless, reflecting lake, or on a endless reflecting mirror. The sky is gray and featureless. Let's see what we get from that. Okay, cool. A room in Ocarina of Time. What? How about something unidentifiable burning on the horizon, or just then smoke coming up? But wouldn't that look like a plane crash or something, right? So we can try that. A man standing in a landscape. In the distance is a fire. With a fire. With a tall smoke column. The sky is covering most of the image. Okay. There we have the concrete wall. Ooh. Okay. Interesting. That is kind of better, right? He's standing in front of a concrete wall. There's nothing else. No outlet, nothing. This has a bit of a pattern, which might already be too much because it's kind of like a structure. It creates order, right? Visual order. If you have this kind of pattern. There we have these kind of like, I don't know if you can see that, we have these fine lines here that create rectangles. This might be a visual cue for overbearing, not aristocratian, authoritarian. Man, I have problems with like words recently. Authoritarian regime, maybe. And this also has structure. I kind of like the one without structure the most, to be honest. But that looks already pretty interesting. A salt desert, too, with reflections on the floor. Might also be interesting. Let's see if we have something else. We have this finished. It looks like abstract photography. Yeah, I don't see it. That's, to me, is less appealing, kind of. It is, I mean, isn't like a flat lake with like a completely flat lake, isn't that more appealing and romantic and beautiful rather than, you know? By the way, let's try the music again. Dystopian music, monochrome. Oh, I forgot about, I actually pushed the button and then it didn't. Oh, I have to turn on my headphones again. 1 second so I can actually hear something. Give me a second here. Is it on? Should be on. Let me see what I can hear. Or not. Yes, that looks good. Let's see. Good start. I hate that, like, I still have Suno credits and I really hate that it always has to be this kind of like dance thing. Why does it always have to be that? I don't understand. Why can I never have something that is like, let's try this maybe. More options. 1 second. Lyrics, weirdness, duration. Instrumental. Style. Monotone. With no beat. Maybe it can do that for me. Let's see. Try this too. It's only 10 seconds? What the hell? You say no beats. What does it do? It does beats. Man. Okay. What is this? Yeah, also beats. Okay, 1 second. Sorry. Cool, but it's a little bit. Full Metal Alchemist. This one is Full Metal Alchemist? Really? How? Isn't Full Metal Alchemist extremely colorful and such? Ooh, what do we have here? Oh, that's with the smoke in the distance. Oh, you mean this? You mean the music? Sorry. Ooh. How do you feel about that? So this is more like drone sound. Let's see the second one. Should we go with that? You want to hear? You want to listen to that or no? I mean, it gives some atmosphere to it. Let's punch this in a couple of times. We can turn this into a playlist. There we go. There's a part in Full Metal Alchemist where they enter another plane of existence, which is all white and infinite. Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. Didn't know that. So this is more like a plane crash scenario, right? This also. Wait, let me try something. We are taking this. Let's try this real quick. It might be too much on the nose, to be honest. Oh, by the way, I want to try something else. Music-wise, kind of cool right now, I would say. Let me put all of this in a playlist real quick. One second. Add to playlist. Dystopian. Stream. Okay, there we go. All right. Let me go to the library playlists and see if this is actually in there or not. Oh, it worked this time. We have 20 songs. Might be a good start. Okay, let me click here. There we go. Oh ho! So how do you like that? With these like lines, the black lines coming down from the sky. Is that kind of interesting or no? It's maybe it's not really the kind of like existential thing. It's more like a strange otherworldly alien invasion kind of like thing, right? But it's also kind of interesting, maybe. Let me know what you think about that. By the way, I just had another idea. Let's try this. So there we have the giant hole in the ground. Burning in the background might not be needed, I don't know. It kind of looks like the military are dropping down on the ropes. Really? From the sky? That's a pretty long rope for a military. So here we have the big hole in the ground. Old movies had those cracks and lines. Oh, a crack in reality. Oh, that's also interesting, kind of, right? Black holes also have a thing, right? But are they existential? I'm not quite sure if they're existential, though. What would you say does a black hole in the ground represent usually in the movie? You know, of course, it's kind of like this strange, horrific thing that we don't know where it goes, but what kind of concept does it represent? It's not like the Earth or anything, everything is sucked into it. So is it an escape? Is it a reminder of, like, you know, like a memento mori, like a reminder of death? Or like, what would you see in that kind of thing? Let's look for the pages. Oh, it's not quite finished yet. Okay, interesting. Let's go back to this real quick. Military lines. Black holes are kind of existential they are in space. If they are in space, yes, a black hole. That's true. Yeah, totally. Right. I wonder if this space without the lines would be more existential if there would be several people standing, like, placed around the landscape but not too close to each other. Hi Mark. I'm Marcus. Thanks for joining. Again, missed the live beginning. Don't worry about that. Today is a slow stream thinking about existential symbolism and stuff and how we can do something in art. So here we have the ground covered in pages. That is more of like an attack on education, maybe, you know? Let's try the scene from the road real quick. Dystopian world. A man is walking alone in along a road through a forest. Many of the trees are dead. The colors are muted. There is a broken down burning car on the side of the road. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, and 1 second. Most of the image is sky. Okay. I feel like making most of the image sky adds way more pressure to the scene. This with the pages is too fancy schmancy, I would say. And the whole is a little bit 90s horror, right? Maybe. And also not very existential, I would say. Let me ask AI, what does endless hole in the ground usually represent in a horror story? Let's check this out. By the way, we haven't read the rest of the text. The hell? There we go. Let's have a look at the rest of the text we had before. Scene 2, distortion of routine. One of the core ways Vladimir and Estragon endure is through repetitive, redundant actions. Visualizing this physically represents the futility of trying to create meaning through routine. Absurd activity. A man on a flat salt wearing a suit performing an endless, meaningless task trying to count grains. Interesting. A non-directional path. A man walking down a road that upon closer inspections has no beginning and no end. It is a perfectly symmetrical circle. Kind of boring, okay. Dissolution of identity. Existential loss often means the loss of coherent self. If there is no purpose, who are you? The face as negative space, a portrait of a man sitting, seen from behind, Rückenfigur, but the back of his head is not hair, it is simply a void. The background is perfectly visible through the silhouette. Nah. Blurring time lapse. Long time exposure photography, blah blah blah. The whole does kind of remind me of Spielberg or something. There was a TV show with a hole in the ground. Okay, let's see. The endless hole in the ground is a horror most potent visual trope because it traps directly into spatial, psychological, and cosmic dread. Instead of serving as a polar to a clear destination, its terrifying power comes from the fact that it defies natural law and logical explanation. The unknown and the void, Lovecraft, cosmic horror, yes, of course, then represent psychological mind. Freudian horror, the hungry man, body horror and consumption, okay. Descent into madness, point of no return, and then the hell, decay, and the earth's rejection. Okay, interesting. Okay, what else do we have here? Oh, now we have the guy. Yeah, that looks more like zombie movie, right? the car is already kind of like, It's a surprisingly hard task to come up with something that is kind of like visually interesting, right? And tells a story. Maybe we should have gone for something more obvious. And now you know why Marvel is doing all this obvious shit, where a man with spider functions is called Spider-Man, and the man who is super is called Superman. It's like crazy on the nose. And this is like hard, right? Hard to figure something out. Godot is a figure from Samuel Beckett play, Waiting for Godot. Check it out. You can watch it on YouTube. It's 2 hours long, and it might be boring, but it's really nice to watch as a play. At least I find it really nice. And it's about existentialism. And Godot is the figure they wait for, but he never appears. By the way, the story cannot be spoiled because, like, the monotony and pointlessness of it all is kind of like the meaning. So there is nothing that can be spoiled. There's no surprise in the story, right? In that regard. I'm still like, I feel like this is kind of like one of the best things so far. Of course, the question now is to ask, like, where, what could you do? What could you do next, right? By the way, one interesting thing, I always thought it's an interesting thing to have a door, but the door has like a lot of handles on top of each other, like 20 handles or something like that, you know? So you're in that room and the door is not locked. The only thing you have to do to get out of it is to press all the handles at the same time to open the door, right? Just like a normal door, but it has too many handles. But you can never press 20 handles, especially if they are like across the door, right? So even though the door is technically open, you cannot open it because you're alone in the room, so you cannot get out. So that's kind of like a, you know, I always found that an interesting visual image to have that. But yeah. By the way, let's go back here. Let's try this. Okay. Add a door, but it is on the upper part of the image where the man cannot reach it, and it is and there are no stairs to any way to get to it. Okay. A door, let's say a wooden door. A white wooden door in a classic, let's say classic Vienna style. Let's see what we get from that. My past month's slow project hobby. Oh, interesting. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, existential question is always, at least for me, is always an interesting question, you know? And by the way, also one interesting thing about that is, if you think about different world religions or different philosophies, they kind of like often come to a similar conclusion. Now, if you look at the specific detail, they're very far apart, but they have on the surface, they have a lot of similarities, right? So usually when you look at these religions or philosophies or concepts, you have basically the reality, which is kind of like a illusion, or it wants to drag you into the wrong direction by all these things in life, like money and fame and beautiful women and like, I don't know, this and that, like a expensive car and something like nice clothing, all these kind of things. And also, of course, like the things you can achieve in life. And then, but this is always seen as an illusion. You should not follow that. And then is the other side, which is kind of like the real or the wisdom or the origin of everything, or the thing that is like the lasting happiness, basically, right? And that is quite the opposite of like letting loose, not letting yourself drag by these things, by these kind of illusions. Staying basically either in the middle or choosing the middle way, which is actually two very different concepts. Or just like slowing down, and a lot of philosophies, I think they all have this kind of like concept. I mean, at the end of the day, it probably also makes sense that they all have this similar concept, because after all, we have seen in life that everything you ever wanted at a certain age now is meaningless to you, right? Like, just think about like the time when you have been a child. You wanted chocolate, you wanted toys, you wanted like these children TV shows, you wanted to have a teddy bear and stuff like that. And now that you're grown up, and like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like probably every child has thought, hey, when I'm an adult and I have money, my own money, I will buy all of that stuff. I will buy tons of chocolate and tons of toys and tons of shows and stuff like that. And we kind of never did, right? At a certain point, you're like, I don't need that anymore. Now I have other interests to follow, right? Now my toys are like cars and expensive holidays and expensive food and stuff. Not for me, but like for a lot of people, So you have other urges, right? So that's kind of like interesting. But we also always know that these kind of things go away over time, right? So you're like, So, yeah. Anyways, let's go back to the bat cave. 1 second. There we go. There we have our door. The door is way too big. It looks like God's door. This is a more it's still, compared to the guy, it's still a way too big door. Okay, and also all the doors have a frame, which is not great. Okay, we have to correct the AI. 1 second. Classic Vienna style. Without a frame. And the correct size for the men. Okay, let's try this again and see if we can go. For me, I used to watch anime 24/7, no matter the plot. Yes, right. And then as I got older, I started only watching a few created anime shows. By the way, also, like, let me know, do you think you're old when you're starting to reread the stuff from your teenage times, and you watch old TV shows and old movies and stuff, and you think about the good old times? Because the interesting thing is, the younger you are, the more you want to look forward, and you want to be grown up, and you want to have all these things that grown-ups do and can achieve, and all the kind of freedom. But the older you get, because like you have more time behind you than in front of you, the perspective at some point switches over to the past, where you look in your past and you think, oh, this kind of thing, that was nice, and this was nice, and so on, Of course, also because I feel like the further we move away from our youth and our how can I say, let's say, more active years, the more distance we get from all the things that are kind of like nice in life. Everybody has its own life. So like, for example, I don't have many friends I can talk to every day. Also, not about like interesting topics or anything. Everybody, if you meet, you just catch up and like talk about how is your job, how is your this and that, you know. But you don't talk about like when you were younger about aspirations, ideas, philosophies, concepts, all that kind of thing. Not more, no more, right? Or you go out all night, you meet strangers, you talk with them, you dance with them, all these kind of things, you know. And it didn't matter the surrounding. You would sit on the floor, roll your own cigarettes, drink the cheapest beer, and now everything has to be nice and ordered, and you know, it's kind of like it's not the same thing. It doesn't feel the same, you know. But the older you get, the less you can connect to this kind of like society, unless you have this kind of like off the grid kind of people, which are always a bit strange and always a bit conspiracy. So not a big fan of that either, you know. And sadly, I was actually thinking about maybe going back to the Academy of Arts, or like going back to like vernissages and like ateliers and stuff like that. There's shared ateliers where you can just like rent a room, and then you have other artists. And artists would, I suppose they would mind less if you are not the same age as they are. The only thing that I, as a more grown person, is keep myself from is to say, oh, this is how it actually is. Because first of all, that's bullshit. But secondly, also, it's kind of like an urge when you get older to say, when you're young, it looks like that, but actually it is like this. You know, you want to be like, share your wisdom, but that's not a great idea often. Because first of all, they don't believe it, and secondly, they have to make their own mistakes, and thirdly, that is just my impression of the world. It doesn't mean it's like that for them, you know. Okay, let's go back here. Sorry. There we have a door, no frame. What do you think about that? Of course, also I have to look at the chat. Sorry. I think there's a double aspect in the particular era. It generally was better when we were young, even if there was less choice. What we could choose was much better. I think that is an illusion, to be honest. What else did you write? 1 second. Content in the past used to be genuinely aimed at a family audience. Even the kids show would have some reference or symbolism that only adults would get. But now, because kids TV has been separated. Has it? I don't know. I don't have kids. I don't watch kids TV. But I think, personally, it is an illusion to think that the past was somehow better. The past was better because it was new to you. You have never experienced the things before. And because of that, everything was attractive. But also, the mind at that time was more open and hungry and easier to pleasure with any kind of simple thing or simple idea. And the more older you get, the more you have seen all these kind of things, and everything becomes a repetition where it kind of like feels less interesting, less fulfilling. And this is probably also the point where it might be interesting to look for deeper things, maybe, that still have something new, you know, or to get out of that loop of doing the same things over and over and try to experience something different, you know, to reactivate the curiosity and creativity in your mind. I feel like the only problem with that is you probably have to do it mostly alone, because not so many other people do that, you know, I feel like, you know, or they do it in a grown-up way, you know. Not many adults want to be fools. That might be a problem. The door is maybe a little bit on the nose, but what do you feel like? How do you feel about that door? Is it too much on the nose or no? Let me get this in a new window here, and then we take it without the just the wall. Let's go like this. With the door, without the door. I feel like with the door, it's kind of like a very like focused one point solution, right? Interesting. You should always be curious, but can you manage to do that, right? Can you stay curious? I know. You should. You get so many angry and strange comments in your comments section. In under this video, really? Wait, let me check this out real quick. Are the haters? The haters going cray cray in the comments? Are there comments? I don't see any comments under the video. I only see the live chat. Maybe comments come afterwards and you can't comment right now. Or maybe I can't see it right now. I'm not sure. Yeah, I only see live chat, to be honest. Okay. So let me try something. Maybe let's make another quick fire round. By the way, what's the time? 1 hour 22. I feel like time well spent. You might find you might feel differently. Roots. Look dead. Okay. Good. We're gonna try that. Quick fire rounds. Brainstorming. Oh! A crack. I misspelled already. 1 second. A crack. Oh, maybe we also have to switch over here to the credits. 1 second. Off the wall. Okay. Let's go on. Add very cheesy, but we will try. Window to upper. Visible through a hole in the wall. And I want to also, oops, I want to also do this in a different way. Okay, forest. Let's say machine forest also. I don't know if it understands that, but we will try. Okay, we have a little bit of time. Let me make it big so we can talk a little bit whilst rendering. No, I mean from the recent videos. Oh, from the recent videos? Oh yeah, because it was talking about art and stuff like that. By the way, I recorded yesterday a video where I talk about, like, I think almost 20 minutes about the change that AI brings to creativity, but I haven't like cut it yet because I thought like I need B-roll and images to make it more interesting, so you're not just looking at me for 20 minutes. But it's like it's very hard to find something nice to put that also fits to the video, right? Of that wall with the door became to my mind. What? Of the wall with the door became to my mind as if the wall was rising, so the doorway going too high to reach. Also interesting point, yes, right? How about a TV wall instead of a concrete wall? But then it's about media, you know? I mean, we could also we could do a quick fire round about very obvious on the nose symbolism of, I don't know, different things like authoritarian government and commerce and blah, like different kind of things, you know. That might also be fun to do that. And then we of course can have a monster that has a big TV as a head or something like that. Okay, oh my god, they look cheesy as hell. Okay, get ready for cheesiness. The double stuffed cheese crust is ready. There we go. Let's check this out. So here we have, this is actually supposed to be cracks with roots growing out of that. Not so great. Yeah. It's interesting that the cracks in the wall and the roots look very similar. And it doesn't look impressive at all. Yeah. No. None of that. By the way, this reminds me of the movie Maze Runner right now, right? Okay. There we have the strange machine on the top. I don't know. Is that interesting? Oh, the darker machine maybe is interesting. Okay. No. No. This looks like an entry to a bunker. So that's kind of like interesting. The goddess of fire and water in the middle of a wall. What? Could you add this to the wall? What? Mahanis. What? Mahaniasin. Well, we can try that. 1 second. Let me look at the images first. Or maybe, wait. Let's get that started here. There we go. Okay. This is super cheesy. Very bad. Bob Ross has entered the chat. Terrible. Too cheesy, too much on the nose. Yeah, no. Yeah, totally no. Totally no. By the way, let's get even more cheesy. At babies in them. There we go. Let's see what this does. There we have the hole with the desolate forest. Maybe a little bit better, but also no, right? Not great. Not great. Yeah. Really boring. Okay. Not at all interesting. Oh, what is this? Ooh. Oh, the machine's behind. But also why? You know? Do you even see what I'm seeing? Yes, you see what I'm seeing. Okay, cool. It's the cheesiness comes from it being a hole in that concrete wall that makes it really stupid. So that already is like, it could be maybe done in a different way, but it just doesn't look good, right? Okay, terrible. Terrible, terrible. Okay, generation violation. So, well, I can't do that with whoever that is. Let me search this real quick. 1 second. Let's go to the big screen. Is this a nude goddess? Probably. The hell is this? Why would she be in the middle of the wall? I don't get what this is about. That makes kind of like no sense, to be honest. So this is her, but like, why is she in the middle of the wall? I don't understand. So that's very strange. Okay, what else do we have? The other also didn't work? Violation, really? That's a runway for you. Probably not ChatGPT image, maybe. I don't know. The tree is still the best one, to be honest. Okay. Let's start fresh. Give me some completely different ideas of a existential imagery. There we go. Yeah, babies, probably, right? You can't say babies. I had an Attack on Titan déjà vu. Really? Spatial architectonic absurdity. Unusable furniture and defective rooms. Door in the floor. A person standing in an open sunlit field holding the handle of a standard white bedroom door that is laid completely flat on the grass. What is that about? Bureaucracy, ultra-wide, high overheat shot of an infinite grid of identical wooden desks. Okay. Landless grid of okay, we're gonna try that, and we're gonna remove this. Okay, let's see. By the way, of course, things like the back rooms and stuff like that have that kind of thing, but I don't want to use that kind of like imagery. That's a little bit on the nose, of course. Let's see what else we have here. Scale, human redundancy, bureaucracy, gigantic scale of the mundane, a single human figure standing at the base of a towering 50-foot tall blank sheet of standard linen notebook. Ooh, okay. Material incongruity. Nature versus function. A glass wall in the forest, a person. Oh. Okay. A man standing inside. Cube in a forest. It's probably not exactly what we are looking for, but let's have a look at that. Okay. Let's ask some other things also. Give me psychological concepts of existentialism and existential crisis. There we go. Crisis. Okay. At the core of psychological existentialism centers on standing us on a startling truth. We are thrown into a world that has no inherent blueprint, meaning, or pre-written purpose. The four ultimate concerns of existence. Meaninglessness. The universe does not come with a instruction manual. We have the fundamental drive to find order, yet we exist in a indifferent reality. We must construct our own meaning from scratch. I mean, of course, like one of the problems is the existential crisis usually comes more through the story than through the image, so it might be very difficult to actually find an image that represents that. Okay. Is this an existential crisis? This is more like a midlife crisis, although like ChatGPT did a really good did a really good job of doing that. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Okay, there the desks are the wrong size here, but this is kind of cool. This is kind of cool. Wait. Let me try this again. Maze. We're gonna turn that into a maze. There we have the man in a glass box. I don't know. I mean, maybe if he's in a glass box in a landscape or industrial park or something like that. But why is he in a glass box? That kind of like doesn't make too much sense. This, I feel this way more, to be honest. I like that way more. I want to try this again. Endless grid of desks seen from above. The desks decay more with distance. Okay, let's see if we can get that in there. And then he is standing endless wall of desks seen from above, so a wall instead of a plane. That might make it different. Aha. So here now we have more of a maze structure. Doesn't look very mazy, but a little bit mazy. Oh. It's fun when, like, it's funny when he is like completely the wrong size to that kind of thing here. But the grid makes it more Kafkaesque, I would say, than the maze. The maze makes it kind of like more a little bit natural and interesting in a certain way. You want to explore it. And this is like, because of the repetition, there is nothing to explore. You've seen one cubicle, you've seen all of the cubicles. So, interesting. Let's see when they decay into the distance. We don't have that yet, okay. And we also don't have the wall. Okay, this takes a little bit longer. What else could this be, by the way? Rather than desks, beds, maybe? I mean, a cubicle is kind of like the most kind of like pointless kind of thing, right? Oh, this is doing too much, but let me add this image. And then again with the black hole, add in the distance giant black hole that the desks are falling into. Let's see. Ooh, okay. They are like starting to erode from the start, and now he's a giant for some reason. So that didn't work at all. Okay, that didn't work. Wrong size. And what was this? What is the prompt here? Oh, this is supposed to be an endless wall. Why did this not work? The man is standing in a landscape. Oh, a landscape of an endless wall. Aha, wait. We have to change that prompt. The man is standing in front of a endless wall of office desks. Seen from above. Okay. Let's see if we can do that. The hole is also still waiting. And what is this? Oh, this is still the landscape. It's, you can kind of imagine like if his position would be turned and this would be a wall that he's looking upwards, although like then the desks don't make sense because they're screwed to the wall. But that's kind of like interesting, right? Oh. A man standing in front of an endless wall of oh god. Wait a second. Plattenbau. English. Panel construction. Oh god. Let me type, come on. All of the sky. Okay, let's see if that's what did. Oh! Alright. Holy shit. Okay. Now we are in the Marvel Universe finally. There we go. We have the void sucking up all these cubicles. Oh. Oh. That's kind of creepy. It could be darker down here, but wow. Interesting, especially because he's standing on the edge of it. How do you like that? That's kind of cool. Ooh. This always looks like, almost looks like it's a liquid or something, like water or something, right? And this is really getting sucked in. That looks kind of like, has this kind of like Black Mirror kind of aesthetic. But two kind of Matrix digital world kind of getting sucked in, right? Interesting. Very strange also. Okay, and where was the other? Oh. Okay, let's see. Oh. So now he's standing in an edge and looking down at a wall of these offices. That's kind of cool. There the offices are really hard to like see. And this looks like he's in a toy store. But this one is kind of cool. They could be more similar and more repetitive, but it's kind of interesting maybe, right? Interesting. Oh, and there we have the building. Wow. Okay. Wow, interesting. Ooh. All right. He's too big in the image, though. Wow. Okay. Wait a second. I want to try this again. Small man. Let's try this again with small man and see where this goes. But which of these did you like the most? Like, what of those, which of those images is most interesting to you? It is kind of like endless. How would you say? What is that? What's the English word for that? Like a, not a skyscraper, but like a home for a lot of people. What do you call that? Right? Or the wall of offices here, which are also kind of like on a balcony, but of course they have to be open so we can look inside of them. Or the giant hole that is kind of like sucking up the offices The cubicles. The apartment, yes, right. The giant apartment, you are right. I mean, this also, I still like this a lot. Because this is complete pointlessness, right? You're lost inside of that repeating structure. And it's also this kind of symbolism that everybody has the same life doing the same thing. And you're kind of like questioning yourself if, like, what's the purpose of it all, you know? Even though this has a bit more of like a midlife crisis kind of concept, right? Is the other thing here finished? Yeah, already. Okay, cool. Oh, there we go. So now he's small. Wow. That is kind of interesting, though. He looks like a child here a little bit. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Oh. You see how much difference it makes what the design is. I feel like this is way more terrifying than this one. Wow. Wait a second. Where was that? Which one was that? What? What's going on right now? That is not one of my songs. I also don't know what the text is, so we're not going to listen to that. Sorry. I don't know what he's singing. He could sing anything. I have no idea. He could sing the worst thing ever. Okay, we're going to try this here real quick. Endless wall. Okay, cool. 5 seconds. Yeah, that should be enough. Let's see. Does Sedan still? Oh, I'm on credits right now. I forgot about that. 720. Yeah, 720 is good enough. Okay, let's see what we can do with that. Russian music. Did you understand anything of what he's singing? A little strange pictures. No passage at all between the tables. Yeah, but that's also the interesting thing about that, right? I like the symbolism of that because it kind of like, this is not the right one. It means kind of like you can go nowhere, right? You're literally stuck in that kind of position where you are. And everybody has the same, but there's no going forward, or like you can go backward in this case because like it's open to the back, but everything else, everybody else is like caught in that kind of like place in their life. It's a bit of... What did he sing? Was it something naughty or was it something okay? Okay, the video is still rendering. By the way, what's the stream time? I think we're kind of like getting close to... Yeah, we're getting close to 2 hours. There we go. Oh, we wanted to do the quickfire round. The quickfire round. Okay. Should we do the quickfire round on Midjourney maybe? Because it would be more creative, maybe more creative. I don't know. Or we could do it in ChatGPT and say it's a game graphic. But then we have to put it on a white background because of the like pattern. Or maybe not. I don't know. Okay. Let's try this. And by the way, let me put the microphone here to the side. I hope you can still hear me because otherwise I'm going crazy here with the keyboard. Fighting a giant. Has a TV. on the TV. Graphic. Okay, let's see what this will do for us. Oh, the video is done. Okay, let's see. Ooh. Oh, no! I wanted to cover the sky. So Seedance kind of like didn't do it. I mean, I should have specified that all of the sky is still covered by it. But at least it's zooming out. Uh-huh. It would maybe be better if the camera was also like rotating a little bit. There we go. But yeah, that's kind of interesting. Would be better if the sky is completely covered. And Minimax still rendering. Kind of strange, okay. The camera is tilting upwards. Okay, let's see what we get from that. Ah, and there's the Minimax video. Let's see what this does. Also building. Oh no, that's also Seedance. Did I render it twice in Seedance? What the hell? Where's the other video? Oh, it's a violation. Who would have thought? Oh, it's ChatGPT. Okay, interesting. Wait, is it my prompt with the small man? Oh. Okay. What exactly could be the problem here? Is a giant heavy man? And now you can like play whack-a-mole trying to figure out what the word is. This is Minimax. Let's check out Minimax. Ooh. Okay, that's way better. Oh, it even has some sound. Wow. Okay, that's way more terrifying. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Oh. Oh, nice. I love it. This kind of thing that's like the structure that's coming into the image over here, I'm not a fan of that. But otherwise, it's very nice. Cool. Let me stop the music real quick. This is the sound of the video. Pretty cool. Very nice. Is the other video also finished yet? No. Generating video. Okay. This was Minimax. Yes. Reuse prompt. Let me have, what's 15 seconds. It might be a little bit too long. Let's go with 10 seconds. Endless wall that is covering all of the sky. Okay, cool. Let's see what we get from this. Okay, we can go back to the music. There we go. What was I having here? I got it. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I think my computer crashed. Something crashed. Hello? Wait. It's doing something again. 1 second. Give me a moment. Ah. Okay, it looks terrible. Oh, and the video is also done. Okay, cool. 1 second. So this looks stupid. It does look like a video game, so that's kind of nice. Yeah, I don't know. Shop now. Eh. Let me try this on Midjourney real quick. And also say concept art here. By the way, we never looked at the concept art. Oh no, we did look at the concept. Oh, there was a concept art. Why is it not a drawing if it's concept art? Okay. And then we have the video. Is this now 10 seconds? No, it's 5 seconds. Oh, this is again sea dance. Why is it not covering the sky? So this didn't follow the prompt. Okay, interesting. And this one is still rendering. So let's see here. Marcus, sorry, I didn't see that. Had to have a coffee for a few minutes, but those black hole pictures with the endless structure brought the fractals to my mind. So could be interesting combination with the fractal pattern. Also interesting, yeah, it's an interesting idea. Wait, let me go back to here. Whoops. Oh, we created a ton of images today, that's pretty cool. Let's reuse this prompt. Let's go back here to unlimited. The man is standing in the endless fractal of office desks. Let's see if it can do something with that. And then let's see if we get... Oh no, that's the same video. The other video is still rendering? Oh, how long is that? Ugh. Okay. By the way, let me know what the hell is going on. My computer's again not reacting. Now it's reacting again. Okay, wait. This one. I wanna try this one on Midjourney. Oh. Okay, Midjourney. Very pop graphic and like, look at that, like completely inconsistent. The guy doesn't even have a head. I feel like maybe Midjourney needs just like longer, more detailed prompts or something. I mean, this kind of looks pretty cool with the guy fighting against that. Actually, let's have a description here. And then see from the description what kind of like result we get from that, right? Okay, let's just push all of that in and see where we can go with that. Maybe get something way more detailed. Is the video done yet? Oh, yes. Nope, still not. Where's my video? Oh, it's still rendering. Holy crap. This is something for the ages. I'm gonna have gray hair until it's finished. What was this? Oh, this was the wall. Okay, cool. 1 second. This is also still rendering. Sorry, we're in render limbo right now. There we go. Ah. Oh my god. Okay, so Midjourney has a completely its own mind about these things, apparently. The prompt is non-existent. But it's abstract as hell. So maybe also not too bad as a thing, you know? What is the constructing? So these are the homes. Let me also find the endless grid of the offices. If I can find them, please. Could we have that? There we go. This is the maze. I don't want to have that. I want to have this. Let's put this in here. I mean, to be honest, not too bad, but more playful and kind of romantic in a kind of like cozy dystopian way. This is actually pretty cool, but very sci-fi. This is, the guy is way too big. And it also, again, with the colors, has kind of like a coziness to it. Oh, and this is a bit Black Mirror meets Love, Death and Robots. It's a mix of dystopian alternative reality and kind of like cozy animation. Huh. Interesting. So, yeah, all kind of like too playful maybe, but of course you can prompt it to be more mute with the colors. Oh, there we go. Looks kind of like Bomberman. It's not a fat man, is it? But of course, also we are in this case not using the fat man prompt. We are using the description that the Midjourney has come up with. Interesting. Okay, what else do we have? It's a giant robot with a TV in his belly for some reason. The trash robot. He's really Bomberman-like. Why is he a big red ball? Oh, wow. Okay. Ooh, this one is nice. I like the lighting. Wait. Copy image. Graphic. Let's see what we get from that. By the way, didn't we ask for something here? What is this? Oh, that's the fractal thing. I remember. And the video, is this the video? Oh yeah, that's the video. Let's check out the video real quick. Sorry, I have to turn off the sound. One moment. Oh. Oh. Oh, that's good. Can I make it bigger? No, because then you... Wait a second. I'm going to move my screen over so now you can see everything. Oh. That's a good one. I like that a lot. Holy shit. I kind of like how the windows start to rearrange in the middle. You see here now? It's creating more windows. The sound is also cool. That was a good payoff for today. Wow. Beautiful. Okay, cool. Enough of that. 1 second. Let me go back here. There we go. That was amazing. The building should create a word or image when it's zoomed out. No, that's way too cliche. Not an image or a word. And now my mouse is again stuck. What the heck is going on right now? Okay. There There's the fractal office. Ooh. Okay, that's kind of cool. Where you have like smaller offices in a bigger office. So this is a cubicle, and inside of the cubicle is an office with cubicles that has offices in the cubicles. That is kind of cool. That's kind of interesting. Oh, this is kind of the same thing, but it becomes so small that it's really hard to understand that this is actually, what is it called again? Fractal. That is a fractal. Yeah, this is not a fractal. It's more like a grid. And this is also, this looks like idiocracy, to be honest. Also not really a fractal. This one is kind of like the best one. But you have to know it's a fractal to understand that these smaller things here are not trash. They are cubicles and offices inside of the cubicles of an office. The video could be extended. So the video was pretty amazing. That was probably the best payoff. Oh, and there we have the improved version of whatever Midjourney thought it's doing. Although, to be honest, all this trash here, I mean, right now the trash looks really rotten, so he really looks like he's in a trash yard. But way better details, of course. Kind of cool. Kind of interesting. Could be a story where this little child gets lost in this trash. What's it called? Trash yard, right? And then he finds the robot who helps him out or something like that. They become friends or whatever. Maybe he can even climb inside of the robot to get protected by him or something like that. Against the, what are they called? Like guys who go to the trash yard to collect stuff and steal things. Whatever, just let's call them gangs. I don't know. But it's kind of cool. So Midjourney can be like a delivery service for cool ideas, and then you have to rework them with another software. Oh, look at that. Okay, interesting. Which actually, this is kind of like closer to the actual prompt because it's actual office desks and not cubicles as ChatGPT is doing it. Oh, wow. Midjourney has a lot of this kind of like, how do you call that? 70s subliminal kind of like movie world, abstract creation of like these like movies, other world movies of how the 70s, right? Severance vibes. Maybe, yeah. Oh, this is also kind of cool. More of an illustration style here. Interesting. I like that the displays are see-through glass panels. That gives it a kind of like interesting sci-fi touch. And also that the desks are not really desks. They are these kind of like uncomfortable blocks that people have to stand in front of. No chairs either. Interesting. Well, there we go. Okay, cool. Should we try something else or should we finish for today? We are a little bit over 2 hours. Am I still online or not? Because it says now I have 2 viewers, which can't be because either maybe the live stream dropped for a bit. Because like at one point everybody left. So that's kind of strange. I don't know if I'm still online or not. You can let me know in the chat. Let's also put on the music again. Still online? Oh, and now the viewers are back. I don't know what that was about. Very strange. Okay. Let's do a quick fire round with Midjourney. Just popping out all kinds of ideas. Should I actually next time start with a quick fire round? I feel like often some interesting ideas come from that. But let's just do it. Might be an interesting end of the stream. I will put my microphone over here. I hope you can still hear me in the same quality. Okay. Illustration, concept art of a small man. Okay, I will copy that so I can use it every time. With okay, wait. Carrying a torch. In abandoned giant catacombs. Okay. Catacombs. Okay. Let's try the next one. In a man flashlight at night at a desolate trash yard. Why not? Trash yard. Okay, cool. Small man walking through a desolate and dead forest with lots of fog. Okay. Man walking through a abandoned city that is covered in spider webs. Oh man, okay. In a abandoned broken wooden houses. Okay. Castle ruin. At night he is holding a torch. Okay. Bluish swamp at night. With rusty broken bicycles. Okay, let's have a look at what we have so far. Ooh. Oh, okay. That is yeah, got an idea. Make a complete random world phrase to image generator. What the result might be, maybe could give random surprising ideas. Ah, okay, interesting. We can actually do that with ChatGPT right now. Let's say, okay, make me 20 MJ prompts of always in a different random desolate abandoned world alone. Be creative and always have muted colors. All right, let's pop this baby out. Oh no, it's making an image. I hate that about Gemini. Gemini is the most stupid smart AI on the world. Don't make a image. Right. Me. Okay. Good. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Nothing to do with existentialism, but pretty cool. Has some pretty strong Lord of the Rings meets Indiana Jones vibes. Ooh, kind of cool. Okay. Ah, very nice. The guy in the trash yard. Okay, like it. Ooh. All right. Oh, I like the power lines. That's a very nice touch. Not really a need for power lines on a trash yard, but this more looks like the city has become a trash yard on its own. Ooh. Interesting. It's like a broken down city, maybe after like an earthquake or a war, and then in the background you still see some skyscrapers. Beautiful. Oh. All right, look at that. Okay. This is kind of like the swamp, I guess. Oh, nice. Wow. I mean, that's kind of like where Midjourney shines. Everything very more in the romantic area, though. Ooh, beautiful. Romantic and melancholic. Ooh, also very nice. Okay, cool. Oh. Oh, with the spider webs. Oh, I like that. Look at that. Look at these giant spider webs here. Wow, they actually look spider webby. And the like leaning over old tower here. Wow. Okay, very nice. Oh, there's spider webs in the background. Kind of like harder visible, to be honest. Ooh. Oh. Oh. Okay, that's very yucky. Wow. That is like big sticky spider web strings. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, pretty cool. Yeah. Ugh. Oh. Also. Ugh. Okay. Very thick, gooey spider webs in this kind of like more medieval place, I would say. Okay, I had something else in mind, but also kind of nice. Ooh, that could be a video game I want to play. Ooh, medieval again. Okay, cool. With these houses. Oh, that's a bit too romantic, to be honest, but also looks like an abandoned city. So the kid is kind of like searching in the abandoned city, right? Arachnophobic. Yeah, totally. Ugh. There we go. Even though I like spiders in video games, but not in real life. Oh, beautiful. But very cozy. All of it is very cozy, right? The coziness overflow is always places where you want to be. This is like not scary at all. It's just like something you want to explore, right? Is it? Like, by the way, am I screaming? I think I'm screaming. I don't hear myself talking. Let me put the headphone on just one ear. I might look stupid now, but I think I'm talking way too loud. What was I about to say? Oh yes, like don't you often like have these movies and video games and stuff, and you always think like, why don't we have these giant structures in real life? It's like there is things, but they're always so small, right? You go to other countries and then there's like these kind of like smallish temples, and sometimes they're spread out across like a large landscape, but the buildings are not gigantic, you know, they're never like this. Of course, like in the past, they couldn't build it like that. But even in the future, we don't have these like gigantic structures that are gigantic just for the purpose of being gigantic. You know what I mean? Like you can see like this gate is like massive, really, really big for no reason. But it kind of like looks cool. They have these gigantic, look at this kind of gate here, you know? It's like really, really big. And these massive columns, and also here massive columns, And we don't have to. We have skyscrapers, but they're all purpose-built, right? They're all to be maximizing the rent and whatnot, and not these kind of massive cathedrals, you know? Also beautiful. Very nice. Oh, there's the bicycle. Only one bicycle. Another bicycle, but only one. I thought, oh, there's more bicycles in this case. Okay, okay. Ooh, interesting. With the little, like a little boy. Also kind of nice, maybe. Ooh. Did you like realize that in Midjourney a lot of men have long coats for some reason? I don't know why. They all love to have long coats. Oh, that's it. We are at the end of the thing. Let's try the randomization that we get from Gemini. Let's see if Gemini is creative or not creative. If we get something cool or something really boring. There we go. Should we maybe next time delve into something that is way more of a visual novel kind of style, that is less philosophically abstract and more obvious and direct as a story? That might be interesting, right? Okay, and I don't think I will do all 20 of them, but I will go until 10 at least. And hope there is something nice in that. Let's see, we are at 9 right now. There we go. And then we are getting to 10. Alright. Let's see if we have anything here. I should have started with that, right? This kind of like visual exploration of just random ideas. That might have been a good idea to start with that, but anyways. Ooh. Okay, Midjourney. Gemini. Gemini delivering. Let's see what we get. Ooh. This is like gigantic bones. Interesting. So he's walking through a rib cage of a gigantic monster. Ooh, okay, very nice. Wow, okay. Ooh, giant bones, pretty cool. Maybe something that tells a story rather than depicting a state of mind. Yeah, that might be a better idea next time, to create something that is more, first of all, visual appealing, but then also following a simple direct story, basically, right? Oh wow, look at that. The spine and the bones, rib cage bones, I guess. Crazy. What else do we have? Oh, okay, so we also came up with the trash yard. There we go. Kind of interesting. Ooh, I love this big wheel here. That's pretty cool. Machine wheel. Interesting. A kind of ominous also, because you don't really know what kind of like, why is there so much metal trash? Is this after a war? Is it the end of industrialization? Is it the end of the civilization? A lot of very similar shapes. Maybe like the end of like a machine robot steampunk war or something. Oh wow, this is pretty nice. So you have a stone landscape and then these giant machine parts, or maybe also stone rings, not quite sure. Oh, brutalist architecture. Little guy down here, and we're standing in kind of like a cave, but made out of concrete. It could be from a giant, how do you say that? Water dam, right? To create energy or something like that, or something else. Oh, nice. I love brutalist architecture, and this gigantic structure here also that This is built into the landscape where you have these kind of rocks and grass coming down here, even growing down the sides. Ooh, visually very beautiful. Oh, wow. I love this kind of like concrete opening here that has no purpose, kind of, right? Maybe also pick a few of the generated images afterwards and turn them into videos. Good idea. That's a great idea. Ooh, I love brutalism. There we go. I feel like brutalism should have had a better kind of like position in history, because it was used mostly by communist countries to show their like power and whatever, and because of that it was on the one side built kind of very shitty, and then on the other side have this kind of like stupid expression of power. But it could also have been like this more positive rising to the stars, coming together, power of human creation kind of concept behind it. And I think this never really came too much to be. Ooh, also very beautiful with these stone columns that are kind of floating. Maybe over a dried up sea, that might be nice. Maybe like a little bit of a whale carcass here or something like that. But in this case, it's more like stone landscape with some water puddles. Oh, wow. Pretty cool. Kind of strange. I don't like this too much, but it's still nice. This one is nice, though. It's so cool that they're hovering, though. Kind of like monoliths, but not these kind of like Space Odyssey perfectly machined monoliths, but more like natural stones. Ooh, wow. Okay, these are more machined. Interesting. You can see the difference, right? This feels like a nature's power, more like a natural cosmic power that is at work here, maybe, or connection to a natural power. And this feels more like a other, like more intelligent civilization kind of power that comes from technology, right, rather than nature. Or would you see that different? What would you say about that? Ooh, this is also kind of nice. Interesting. Looking at the bleak landscape sitting there on the edge. Ooh. That is also, by the way, an interesting symbolism. So maybe if you meant that by sitting on a stone, I thought a stone like more of a small stone, a round small stone in the middle of a landscape. But this edge between, so he's on kind of like a plateau, and then you have this desolate, empty, and also, as you can see from the ground, dried up landscape. That makes it really interesting, because there's a separation of basically his plateau, which is his world, and then the rest, which seems kind of like endless and desolate and empty. But he's kind of like on an island, even though the island doesn't have any other qualities. It's also dry and desolate and empty, but it is still his island, right? Interesting. What else do we have? Oh, here it's like just a little bit of it's the same kind of material, I guess. Interesting. And here again, he's had a little bit of a plateau. Hey, good night, Helga. Thank you very much for watching. It was really nice to have you. I like this the most, where there is a distinction of the color of the landscape, but also the guy has the same color as the plateau, and then he has a separation to this white landscape, rather than here everything being white and he being dark. And also here, where the landscape in this plateau has kind of like the same color. The separation here is not as clear, I would say. Ooh. Oh, this is also nice. This is kind of like this left behind civilization of the past, which is a trope in a lot of classic paintings, but of course also in video games. It's always this kind of very intelligent and powerful other time, which is the same like also mankind maybe, or it is this kind of like star-faring civilization who have built maybe a stargate or left behind some other things, but they are dead. They are no longer around. You don't know why they are gone, but they have been vastly powerful to a degree where you neither can understand their technology nor rebuild their technology, but the little bits that still work are extremely powerful and beyond understanding. That's kind of like something you find very often in science fiction. Wow, look at that. Beautiful. Reminds me a little bit of Prometheus. No, not Prometheus. What's the second part where they arrive on the planet? Doesn't matter. You know what I mean. But beautiful, very nice. Look at these many, many rows of either stairs or seats in this kind of like theater, like here. Beautiful. Ooh, with the ramp going upwards. Oh, very powerful. Very beautiful. I also like that the first thing here is way up high and then starts all these kind of like ranks where you can sit. So you have a huge differentiation between this, like almost like in a Colosseum where you have this kind of plateau for the gladiators or whatever, but they are below of the audience, you know, which by the way is pretty interesting because today, today we also have it the same way. When you are in a theater, you look from above down on the stage, which of course, like how else could it go? If the stage is above you, you can't see the stage. So that makes a lot of sense. Ooh, interesting. Way smaller, but also interesting. I love this kind of like very accurate doorway here, right? Covenant, yes, Alien Covenant. Both of them are not so great movies, but I love the movies. I just wish that the story was written better and they would remake the movies with really smart decisions that still lead to the catastrophe. But I love the movies and the movie world, and everything that is happening in these movies is really cool, but also really stupid at the same time. And that's really the downfall of the thing. If it would be written with the same outcome in a very smart way, it would be such a great movie. I don't know why Ridley Scott didn't do it in a better way. They were by Ridley Scott, right? The both movies he did them. But I guess, to be honest, I'm pretty sure it was a contractual thing of them financing the film, but wanted to interfere with the story and probably also produce it in a short time frame to create this low quality of the story. I don't think it's his fault. It's probably the fault of how Hollywood works today. Also pretty cool. Ooh, wow, they almost look like abandoned ships. By the way, let me ask Gemini real quick. Have the Alien movies, Prometheus and Covenant, had a kind of stupid story because of financial pressure? Or did Ridley Scott just a bad job and select a bad script? Let's see what the reason is behind that. 1 second. Neither narrative is fully accurate. The logical lapse of the structural swings across Prometheus and Alien Covenant were not caused by financial distress, nor were they simply the result of Ridley Scott's making a bad film. Instead, the franchise suffered from conflicting artistic ambitions, reactive studio course corrections, and fundamental script rewriting. Prometheus ambition versus mystery box rewriting. The development of Prometheus shifted between two fundamentally different takes. The original script, Alien Engineer, screenwritten by John Sfathis, I don't know how to pronounce it. Originally drafted a direct Alien prequel, it featured classic xenomorphs, facehuggers, and a clear narrative bridge directly explaining how the derelict ships landed on LV-426. The pivot, Ridley Scott grew fatigued with the classic xenomorph. The beast is cooked, he famously noted, and wanted to explore grander themes: ancient astronauts, creationism, artificial intelligence, and existential dread. The Lindelof effect. 21st Century Fox and Scott brought in Damon Lindelof, from the writer of Lost, to rewrite the script. Lindelof intentionally stripped away direct alien connections to create a standalone sci-fi mystery. The resulting flaws, the character's logic broke down. Biologists touching unknown aggressive space snakes, blah blah blah, because the script prioritized allegorical grandiosity and mystery box questions over realistic character behavior. I don't know. That sounds a little bit strange. I mean, Lost was very shallow in a certain way with all these kind of mysteries, so I could see that he would also write Alien into a shallow movie. But to be honest, afterwards, this new TV show, I don't know what it's called, Alien something, is also very stupid, from the character decisions, from the overall decisions, from what is happening in the story. Everything is kind of very stupid. It's written in a way that you see today very often, where the plot is only going forward because the people who act the characters in the story either hold back information in such a annoyingly stupid way, or make such terrible stupid decisions that this is the reason why the plot is going in a certain way. So they don't take any kind of precaution or moment to sit down and think, how could we write the same thing but in a smart way, in a smart decision that makes sense but still leads to the same outcome, which personally I think in 100% of the cases is always possible, but they just don't do it. And yeah, I don't know. I feel it's more the intervention and pressure from the studios and the streaming services to create something fast and cheap, rather than really wanting to have a deep story. These pictures inspire. They look out as if they have been ancient, vanished civilization, and only large ruins left. Right. Yes, let's go back to the images. I can talk about the topic while we look at the images, sorry. There we have these kind of they look like ships, but ships that have been so long gone that they turned into stone, basically. Could that happen? Can ships turn into stone if they're preserved in the same way as dinosaurs are preserved? I mean, that flesh and bone rot away. I mean, metal can rust away over time, but probably not being replaced by stone, right? In the same way. Wait. Can also ask, can metal be replaced by stone over a very long time? I think it's called calcification. I'm not quite sure. Oh, yes. Yes, metal objects can undergo this process very similar to dinosaurs' fossilization. Though the exact mineral transformation depends heavily on the chemical environment. When the dinosaur fossilizes through permineralization or replacement, organic tissue is replaced atom by atom by minerals like silicate, calcite, okay, and pyrite dissolved in groundwater, blah blah blah. Metal objects buried underground and underwater do not simply rot into nothing. They interact with surrounding water, dissolve gases and minerals, blah blah blah, complete corrosion, mineralization, and so on. whatever. But it apparently can happen. Okay. Turn into dust. Yeah, but it can be like the hollow space that's left behind might be filled then by stone over time. I don't know. This is kind of strange. Reminds me very much of Dead Space with this kind of twisted stone shape, right? So, yeah. Interesting. Well, it's a little bit like too ominous here of like, not ominous, it's kind of like, it's just a stone arch. It's not that interesting. Ooh, that on the other hand is very interesting. You know? By the way, I love in nature when things, oh God, I talked for 40 minutes now? Holy shit. We just had 2 hours, now we have 2 hours and 41 minutes. Okay, crazy. I love in nature when things happen, they look like they are human built or civilization built, but they are like normal, natural processes that create these structures and completely straight lines and completely round spheres and stuff like that, but in nature through natural processes, which kind of like, wouldn't it be amazing to have things like that on our planet in this kind of way, but they're completely natural, right? That would be amazing. Look at that. Wow. We have something similar, but not that big and not that freestanding. Wow, beautiful. Isn't that amazing? Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, I should turn some of these into videos. You're absolutely right. By the way, let's see if Midjourney can do that. Probably not. Start frame. Walks in between the stone columns. The camera is following him. Okay. Midjourney for some reason has one of the worst, by far the worst video models of all of AI. Even including the old models from back in the SD 1.5 day. I don't know how they managed that, but it's mind-blowing. Giant causeway, hexagon rocks. Yes, the hexagon rocks, I love them. Very, very cool that happened. And other things like miles and miles of a very super straight canyon. I think it's in Greenland. Correct me if I'm wrong. These kind of things, you know. Or when I was a child in Greece, we found these like round stones that look like cannonballs, and they just come because of the water when in winter it's raining, and then you have sandstone, and they are kind of like rolling and becoming round like that, but they are completely spherical round. Sometimes not, but you can find some that are really round and look like cannonballs made of sandstone. Smaller though. This is also kind of cool with this abandoned building. Could be a train station, could be an opera, or maybe a stock exchange or something. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Actually, not too bad. Camera is a little bit too fast, but yeah, actually not too bad, I have to admit. Let's try this again and put the speed on low here and see what we get from that. But like resolution is shit. So the way he's walking, they always walk super cool, like they are the big kahunas. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe you have to put it in a prompt that they are walking like a normal person. Yeah, that was all the images we have created, but there was some pretty cool stuff in there. Like this is certainly one of my favorites here, and this one also, very nice. I really like that one. Music is changing again. I surrender. by Daniel Keene. Well, let's listen to that a little bit. This one was certainly also one of my favorites. Pretty cool. This one also. Or maybe this one with the natural stone. These two are pretty nice. This one also with the brutalism. Some pretty cool stuff, to be honest. Maybe next time I start with the short fire round. These, I don't know, with the bones. And of course there were a lot of like very beautiful, very cinematic scenes here. Okay, 1 second. And here we have the slower version. What the hell is going on with the walking? He's also walking backwards. At a certain point when he comes into the light, he's flipping the other side around. He's like dancing along the way. Yeah, I don't know why Midjourney really screwed up that video model so hard, but they did. All right, my friends. Oh, it's late. It's time to say goodbye. It was very nice to have you. Let me go to the big screen. So thank you very much, everybody. It was very, very nice. Let's put the music down. Oh, thank you. It was, I think for me, it was really interesting to explore these kind of ideas and especially see how difficult it is to create something like Waiting for Godot in a thing that is not completely replicating the original kind of scene, but having a similar expression. So yeah, the artistic journey is always difficult. It's always like an unsolved puzzle. The interesting thing about art is, as soon as the puzzle is solved, everybody is like, yeah, of course, like who else, what else could you have done, right? But to figure it out going forward and trying to find something actually works is like crazy hard. But yeah, thank you very much, and see you soon, my friends. Thanks for watching. Bye. Bye. See you soon. Thank you, everybody.
So I lay it down, every broken piece, trade the fight, I know